Oh, Facebook and Meta. On today's show, we're exploring the most important Facebook updates that marketers need to know about, including Meta's announced their future priorities. So we'll share which parts are most important to us as marketers and try and read between the lines of what the PR people are saying from Meta. Also, what's actually being shown in the Facebook feed. They do this widely viewed content report, and it's always some really fascinating insights. There's some good news for those of us that are wanting to reach new people, and some amazing AI tools coming for Facebook ads. Are they perfect yet? Probably not, but it's really cool to see where the future of Facebook ads are going. My name is Jerry Potter. Yes, it rhymes with the boy wizard, host of the Social Media Marketing Talk Show, where we break down all the latest social media news and what it means for marketers like you. Today, I'm joined by Allie Bloyd. Allie is host of the Marketing Inc. podcast and the founder of Allie Bloyd Media, a leading training and consultancy for small businesses that specializes in social advertising. Allie, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Happy to be back with you.
So we've got this widely viewed content report, which I always find interesting. And the big trend that we've been seeing over the last couple of years is less stuff in the feed from people that we follow and more stuff from other people. So what is this latest report telling us about what people are actually seeing in their feed?
Yeah, so about 60% of the views to these most widely shared pieces of content are things that are posted by friends. I think that is, relatively expected. Facebook is really focused on your friends and getting that content in front of you. That is the majority of where things came from. However, the thing that I thought was interesting is that almost 27% came from what they call unconnected posts. So these are sort of a mix of recommended content as well as posts that are from people you don't even know. I have seen over the last several weeks that people have commented on my post and they'll say something like, I don't know why I'm seeing this post, or things that are very clear that they don't know. They're not connected to me. We're not friends. They're not sure how my content got into their feed. And, obviously neither am I. But that is, the type of content that they're talking about here, these unconnected posts. Also things that are from groups that maybe they're a part of, that they've joined. So other people's posts through those groups as well. And then, we were talking about this before we came on. They have 13% that came from what they call less common products, such as events, but also something called logging discrepancies. So logging discrepancies sounds like an error with the data, that the data logs are not matching up. That's quite a high percentage for them to not know. It's not really clear exactly what that content is. But ultimately, straightforward answer is most of the content is still coming from friends, also groups. And then we've definitely seen an increase in content that somebody is not really a part of. They're not in the group. They are not friends with the person, or maybe they don't follow the page, but they're getting that content in their feed otherwise. So something we'll talk about in a couple of the other segments is they are trying to push the recommendations a lot. So that is a big focus for them right now. And I think this is obviously a part of that. I don't know how relevant it all is at this time. I've personally seen things that I notice, I'm not in this group, or I don't know these people. And I haven't really felt like it's super, super relevant, unfortunately. Could be different experience for everyone, like it typically is. But anything you've noticed on that front?
Yeah, well, I would say the second or third post every time I open the Facebook feed is from somebody that I have no connection with. And they're mostly like behind the scenes stories from movies and TV shows. And if you had asked me a month ago, hey, do you want to see content about behind the scenes movies, stories and TV show movie, whatever? And I would have said no. But I apparently stop and read them all the time because they keep coming up and I keep going, oh, this is interesting. I never they've figured it out for me. And good for you, by the way. Congratulations on getting your stuff seen by non-followers, because that's what we're all trying to see. Even if there are like, why is this here? When I worked at the agency once, we were actually running ads, but it was a restaurant client, and this one guy actually was just almost violently complaining that we were spamming his Facebook because we were running ads. And we're like,
Yeah.
we can't, and we taught him how to like go in and click, don't show this to me anymore. But
Yeah.
people, they get confused sometimes. Like, why am I seeing this? What's going on? And I think we're in that transition era where that's happening, but that number keeps going up, that 27% now.
So I'm hoping that they will, continue to try and refine how they're doing that, because I agree, some of the stuff that I see, whether it is pages that I'm getting their content, or I've had some groups that I'm getting their content, I'm not a part of the group. The more relevant those things are, obviously, the better people are going to accept it. They're not really going to have a great experience if the recommended content that they're getting isn't exactly what they'd be looking for. So I guess just be careful as to what you click on, because you might be clicking on something because you don't think you should be getting this content, but then your click is obviously signifying to Facebook that you are interested in it in some way. So I think it's something to just kind of be aware of. Otherwise, your feed could really, turn into a lot of different content that you're not necessarily looking for.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was interested in knowing who that Indiana Jones almost wasn't played by Harrison Ford, which is apparently true. It's like, those are the things that are coming up. And I'm like,
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I think that leads perfectly into kind of the next piece of this is just the sources of the posts that were viewed, the types of posts that were viewed, the topics. So another thing that, we've said consistently for a while is don't put links in your post. Put them in the comments if you want to drive somebody to a link. 96.5% of the most widely viewed posts do not include links. They want to keep people on the platform. So if you want your content to have a better reach, don't put that link directly in there. And then the things that I really noticed in terms of the content that was the highest viewed, and this was the links that were viewed and the specific pieces of content that were just uploaded natively. There was definitely a trend. And I think we've seen, several of these before, but entertainment related content. So talking about celebrities, actors, actresses, things like that. That was a good percentage of the content that was the most popular. Nostalgia related content is also something that was relatively popular on those lists. Things that make people remember the good old days. I think there's always a lot of power to nostalgia. So if you can work that into your marketing in any way, that's really powerful. About 4 or 5 of the top 20 most widely shared and viewed sites were gift sites. So memes, people really, they use these a lot. They can be very popular because they can be relatable and obviously humorous. So the humorous content was another piece that was mixed in there. And obviously there's, in the entertainment space, we'll throw sports in there as well. And then how to style content, or like little known facts, things like that. Those were also relatively high on the list. So it just gives a good little snapshot of kind of what people generally are responding to the most. If you're not in the entertainment space, you're probably not going to try and work in entertainment related content, your content, unless there is a tie-in in some way. But what everyone can do is say, is there anything nostalgia related that we can tie into our audience? Is there anything meme-based or humorous that we can tie in here? Are there any interesting facts or how-to or tutorial quick things that will give somebody value that we can tie in? One of them that was on the list was literally a piece of lumber from 1918 next to a piece of lumber from 2018. And you can see the difference between the quality of the lumber and how it's constructed. Probably took that person 10 seconds to make that post. And it was one of the top 20 most widely viewed pieces of content on Facebook for the year. So it doesn't have to be something revolutionary to get a lot of engagement. I think the more relatable it is, obviously it's going to perform better because people will share those things. People don't share things unless they relate to it and believe people they're connected to will relate to it. So, more broad topics that apply to a lot of people. And even if you've got a specific niche, trying to take that and say, okay, well, what can we do that applies to a larger percentage of people so that we potentially just get more reach on our content? And then by by just, how things work, more people that are within your niche are going to also be exposed to that content. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, nostalgia is the perfect. I think it's the low hanging fruit for a lot of brands, and all of the data that we know about what gets shared, it's almost all identity based. And so
Yes.
it's somebody goes, yeah, I was born in the '90s, I share this, or I was born in the '80s and I share this, or whatever it might be, or I'm a fan of this. And so yeah, I think nostalgia is a great way to go with that. So all right, so that's what's being seen on Facebook right now. We got to update you on the future of what Meta is saying and where they're going with all of that. Real quick though, I want to mention this because this is so cool. If you're wondering how to use AI in your day-to-day work, and obviously we're all busy, right? Well, Social Media Examiner has a new show called AI Explored that will help you understand the business uses of AI. And just some of the comments that we've gotten so far about this show. One episode in and I'm hooked. A must-listen AI podcast for those who want to use it effectively. Great information, great guests. Wow. I listened to the first 2 episodes last week in the car, and it really is worth taking a minute and just trying it out, because you might find this is that extra piece to give you that peace of mind that you know what's going on with AI and how to use it properly in your business or in the businesses that you are part of. So you can pull up your favorite podcast app and search for AI Explored right after we finish this episode, or visit our show page today. Go to socialmediaexaminer.com/AI Explored. Again, socialmediaexaminer.com/AI Explored. All right, so Meta came out and they said, all right, these are our future priorities. And I don't know that there were any huge surprises there, but of course, this is what the PR people at Meta came up with. And maybe there's some stuff between the lines, but update us on what Meta is saying they're going to be focusing on going forward with Facebook.
Yeah, really 2 things that stood out. The first one is they want to be a social discovery platform. Okay. So that ties directly into their recommendation algorithm. They want people to be able to discover new things that they like, new people, new businesses through this platform. So when Facebook got started, it was extremely restricted to the people that you are friends with. That was the content
that was the whole idea. Yeah.
Yes. And in a way, they're saying they want to open up your world by doing this. If you are only seeing content from people you're friends with, your world is now restricted to this bubble of people. And they want to show you more. And so that's where that increase in the recommended content in the feed is coming into play. But they also, want to allow people to discover not just new content, but new groups, new businesses, new influencers or public figures that they want to follow. And that is one of their major goals. The other one is to really lean into creating a platform that the younger generation wants to get on and stay on. So right now they are seeing the highest number of young adults, which they classify as 18 to 29 in the US and Canada, that they've seen in the last 3 years. So there's over 40 million people in that demographic that are using this platform on a daily basis. And I believe that, over the last several years, they've absolutely seen a decline in the younger generation as things like TikTok have exploded, Instagram Reels, some of the other platforms that the younger crowd has just been really resonating with a little bit more. And I think in part it is because they were able to discover new things, so those 2 things go hand in hand. They don't want to be limited to just their small group of people that they know in real life. They want to explore new content. So a lot of the things that they're doing are designed to really get that younger generation back with Facebook if they have not been using it, or to go ahead and sign up for that for the first time, get them to log into that on a daily basis. So a few of the things they're doing, they're going to have new video players and new messenger features and, file sending, album sharing related changes that are coming into the picture, as well as their new AI capabilities. So with Meta's Llama, AI model, this is something that they're really focused on. Great opportunity to talk about that on the AI Explored podcast, as that's a huge direction that they're leaning into, is trying to make this very focused on leveraging AI. And we'll talk about, a few of what those things look like. But those are really the primary three focal points for Meta right now. I'm not really surprised by some of those. I think we can kind of see the recommendation side growing more and more. If you've been on the platform paying attention, you'll see a lot more AI features. They've also talked about that for quite a while. But I'm not surprised that they want to focus on the younger generation, because that is a huge percentage of active daily users on any social platform. And as these kids get older, they want to be able to kind of support them at different stages of life. So it talked about helping them find apartments and new furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and just all of these different things that do become a little bit more relevant as you get older and you start living on your own, and things like that. So that's what I noticed.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And so that's not like they're actually seeing that with the younger demographics with Facebook, that they're not doing that thing where they lump in Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and everything. Like just on Facebook alone, they're seeing that. Wow.
Yes,
okay.
Facebook alone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and no surprise that it's a priority, because at some point, if you age up too high, nobody's looking to buy, or almost nobody's looking to buy ads. At some point, and that's their whole revenue model for the most part. With the exception of Meta Verified. So let's segue into this. Meta Verified, this is where you can get extras like, personal support. You get a blue check mark and a few other features. And about a month ago, they announced their Meta Verified for business plans, which were $15 US to up to $500 a month US for different things. But something they just announced here recently is a 14-day money back guarantee. So do you think that they are struggling to convert, or do you think that, because there's different reasons companies offer a guarantee, so you think they're struggling to convert, or do they, maybe they have a really good thing but people aren't willing to give it a try? What do you think their motivation was behind adding this guarantee in?
I think like anything in marketing, a good offer is critical. And if you're talking about a subscription-based plan, being able to let people try it for free first, or have that risk reversal in there, is always a good idea. I'm sure their hope is that people would go ahead and get on it, and they'll forget that they even signed up for it. And, the 14-day
the gym membership model.
Yes, exactly. So, I think that's one way to look at it. The earnings, or what we would say are the estimated earnings from this, don't look bad. They made about $150 million per quarter from this subscription service. And while it's not, the bulk of their revenue, I'd say any business would probably be pretty happy to add on 150 million per quarter by adding something that ultimately costs them nothing, very, very little. There's not a lot of fulfillment that goes into that. If people are using the support features a lot, then that's something that they do have to have additional staff on potentially. But, it seems like things overall are going well with it. Okay. And they may just be trying to do an even bigger push to make this something that's generating more revenue. Because again, there's no supply and demand limitations like there is with advertising. This is an intangible with no hard cost of fulfillment. So seems like a pretty high profit thing that they'd be focused on there. Also, somebody who maybe they're dealing with a tech support issue, or something that they need help with, ultimately could give them an easy opportunity to sign up for it and get their issue addressed, and then just cancel it if they don't want it anymore.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting way to look at it. And I've advised people, sometimes we're like, oh, I need to get this fixed. And I'm like, look, just pay for a month of Meta Verified, talk to somebody and get it done. And now you could technically do it. And if it didn't work out or whatever, then then you got a money back guarantee, which is nice. I did a YouTube video a few weeks ago about the new Meta Verified for business plans. And one of the comments I got was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And I don't think Meta was trying to make their plans hilarious, but they were trying I was trying to find it in here, but it was like, you'll be featured. And then the next one up, it's like, you'll be more featured. And then the next one up, you'll be most featured. So I think a lot of the Meta Verified like details right now are vague. And that's why so that's why some of us are like, I don't know, I'll see. So it'll be interesting to see if more people consider jumping in, especially as you said, if you need to talk to somebody at tech support and you don't spend enough on ads to do that, then This is a great opportunity. So,
Yeah,
all right. Well,
absolutely.
let's talk about ads. All kinds of updates that are coming to ads, and you do this day in and day out. So, tell us about some of these updates and how which ones are you excited about and which ones are you skeptical about as they're rolling all these out.
Yeah, so the majority of these updates are really related to AI right now. So we already talked about the fact that that's a big push for them. I think a lot of people are very interested in AI and how it can tie into the business and marketing space. And they are trying to make it easier and more effective for advertisers to get results. How much more effective, or will it be more effective at all? It's hard to say on some of these until you really get in there. It might be great for one business and not for another. But I do think that there are some really cool options that they've come out with. So you do have the option to do image generation for your creative now using their AI. So pretty much all of the things that we'll talk about related to this, these are all going to be in the Advantage Plus creative sections when you are creating these ads. But you can create brand new images. You can do full image variations. So if you want to test, one image in this structure and another image in another structure, instead of having to go and create that yourself, it can actually create that for you. You can add text overlays. And you can, give it prompts about what it is you're looking for so that you can do that very, very quickly. So from a time saving perspective, could be great. If there's somebody who's not technical, who's trying to put together good ad creative, it could be great. Again, will that creative be the most effective? You don't really know, because everyone's variations are going to be different. And so, I think like most things in advertising, you've got to test and you've got to see how it works for you. They are also going to allow people to have text prompts so that they can do more specific variations. So right now, the system is going to generate those based on what's already been uploaded, whereas very soon you're going to have those prompts that will allow you to do that just, with writing down a couple of words. So the image expansion is also kind of a part of this. Basically, this is the ability to resize your images without having to go in and crop them or create different dimensions for the different placements. So I definitely think that one is going to be particularly helpful, because it is important to have those creatives sized properly. And a lot of people just don't know how important it is, or they don't take the time to do those different size variations. So I think this is going to be a lot easier for them to go ahead and do that.
I think it's one of the best uses of AI I've seen in marketing, because, for years we've all seen, somebody has a square image and then it shows up during a Facebook or an Instagram story or different things like that. And so now that they're using this, because Canva added this first, where it's like, it'll expand the image and match up the wall or the trees or whatever's in the background. I mean, that's huge. And from a time saving perspective, like you said, to just be like, cool, yep, now I've got it for all the formats, done, show whatever fits.
Yeah, so I love that one.
Yeah. What else?
Text generation as well. So they, in the same way, they've already rolled this out to a lot of people. Some people might have it in their account, some people might not, but it is, currently being rolled out on a large scale. And you can get different headline, primary text variations for your ads. And they really want it to be able to be said in your brand voice. So you'll be able to highlight key selling points, and they can also pull things from your previous campaigns that you've run to try and get it in your actual voice. So this is one thing I am interested to test out. I'm not huge on AI copywriting as a whole, because it sounds like AI copywriting. And the more that people have done it, the easier it is for everyone to see when it is AI copywriting, if it has not really been edited to add that personality and to speak in, just more casual language. So if they can take things that were already running in your account that was written by you or your business, I think you're going to have a much better opportunity to get something that actually sounds natural, to write in the style and the format that you would typically write in. So I think that one's very interesting. You also are going to be able to do the same kind of variations in terms of size with videos as well. And then you can also use some of the visual touch-up features that will just allow the video to look a little bit better. So again, I think that's a good one. Not anything that's like revolutionary, but will help a lot of people who are running ads just get better results as long as what they've initially uploaded is good, because changing the size of a bad ad creative doesn't make it a good ad creative. It just makes a bad ad creative in a new size.
Yes.
Then they've also done some things with the catalog ads that are pretty cool. So they have added the ability to do videos with your catalog ads as well. And then what previously was known as like the dynamic ads for product catalogs, they now are pretty much just doing that on a fully automated basis where you've got your entire catalog, and this is going to cold traffic, then it's just going to optimize the products that it shows based on what people have purchased, what they've engaged with, the types of things that they like. You can do the same thing with your retargeting ads, and those are going to be they could be based on similar things, or they're going to be the specific products that people have checked out or added to cart, things like that. So those are all really good options as a whole that they've added to ads recently. So I'm excited to check some of them out, and definitely several other AI features that they've added outside of Ads Manager. I'm sure a lot of people have noticed them on the comments. They've got AI summaries that you can get. They've got the AI search that you can do. So I just think you're going to start to see this really in every element that Meta offers.
Yeah, that and great uses of it as well. But the number one rule of AI, I think, is, as we've learned, is garbage in, garbage out. So you got to have something good for it to build and evolve on. And you mentioned, outside of Ads Manager, they're also opening up a couple of their APIs on the back end. So some of these things like the generative text and image expansion and things like that are also going to be coming to third-party tools, which should be really, really cool as well. So, all right, quick reminder, go to socialmediaexaminer.com/AI Explored to listen to our new show. And Allie, where is the best place for people to discover more about you?
Yeah, they can go to my website, alliebloyd.com, or check out my YouTube channel. The Marketing Inc. podcast is also a great place to get more awesome marketing content. So I'd love to see you there.
All right. And definitely check out our other shows, AI Explored, as we mentioned, the Social Media Marketing Podcast and the Marketing Agency Show. And until next time, may you be wise with your marketing decisions. Thanks,